New Country US105, online at US105fm.com. And our new mobile app available in iTunes, Android, and at US105fm.com. That's powered by Amos Electric. It's Wes. We got some special guests in the studio that have traveled a long way to be here today. Taylah, Michaela, and Emma are all in from Australia. They're from New South Wales, and they are here riding as the Australian Cutting Horse Association in an American Cutting Horse Association event this weekend at the Bell County Expo. They are led into the studio by Mark Watt. Good afternoon, sir. It's great to meet all of you. I'll start with you, and you can tell us a little bit about what's going on at Bell County Expo this weekend for Cutting Horse.
Well, look, thank you very much for having us in here.
Oh, absolutely.
Look, we're a part of a group that comes from Australia, obviously. It's called Australian Cutting Horse and Youth Group. And we really wanted to focus on our youth. So through some contacts with a guy called Kenny Emai, who has a show called Cutting Up.
On Farm and Ranch TV?
That's exactly right. And also an ex-Australian, I suppose you'd like to call him. He's been here in Texas now for 30-odd years, a guy called Terry Clifford.
Yes, sir.
He's down there in Rio Vista. We put this together, so the girls would come and train with Terry for a week, and then he would get them to the show in Bell. And it's sort of taken around about 5 or 6 months to put this together, and we have had lots and lots of small business owners that have hopped on board and been major sponsors, and it's been a coordinated program to get these girls
Certainly.
here, but it really has been an easy program to get them to, I suppose, here to the studio.
That's outstanding. The sponsors are so big. This is something that you guys will never forget doing. And for them to get involved in it, it's quite a cost to send people across the ocean, as it were, and to participate in these events. But I want to say hi to all the girls, and if you could maybe tell us your name and how long you have been riding Cutting Horse.
My name's Taylah Watt. I've been riding cutting horses for about 4 years now. I got into the sport because my family is very interested in cutting horses, so I pretty much got my passion from my dad, who's a cutting horse trainer. So I just have been competing in the last 3 or 4 years.
Taylah, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Outstanding. And to your left is Emma.
Yeah, that's
Emma,
right.
thanks for coming in today.
Yeah,
How are you doing? How long have you been riding?
Oh, I've been riding since I was 6, but I've been...
Holy cow,
yeah,
wow.
That's a long time, for me anyway. And I've been riding cutting horses for 2 years now, I'd say, yeah. So not as long, but, you know, just enjoyed it just as much, I'd say.
And are you 18 as well? Or?
Yep, sure am.
And Michaela?
Hello.
How are you? Good to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
How long have you been riding?
Okay. I've been riding ever since I can remember. Started out with little naughty ponies, and yeah, I've been around cutting horses for quite a while, but I've only been competing in the last year or so.
Do you guys all have family farms in Australia, or is this something that you got involved with as part of your community and people do that, or do you guys all own your own horses on farms and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we own our own horses. All
Awesome.
3 of us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't live on a big place, but we've always had enough room for horses, which is a really good thing about Australia, yeah.
Yeah, we live on a couple of acres and we run a horse and beef cattle program, so we have the room to run horses and are fortunate enough to have cattle to work.
You guys have been in Texas for about a week now. I wanted to know, what is something that is similar to life back home in Australia that you've noticed here over the last week? Do you see anything that kind of reminds you of being back home?
Ooh. Well, you cook your
Aside from all the cattle and the horses that are running around.
I've noticed that not so much many similarities, but being here, not only is the culture different, but the people are so much more different here. I can't give you too many similarities at the moment, but I can give you a lot of differences that I found amazing. The people are so friendly and
I love
welcoming.
that part. Yep, that's one of my
which
favorite
has
things
been,
too.
I mean, amazing. Your food is beautiful.
You
But
guys have barbecue yet?
we did.
Awesome.
But I have to say, you cook your sweet potato the exact same as we do, so that's
Oh, there we go.
that's a similarity.
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, let's explain to folks who may not know exactly what cutting horse is, a little bit about this sport. And it goes back, one of the first cutting horse competitions in Texas took place in 1898. So people have been doing this a long time, and I've heard it said before, and I got to agree, there might not be anything prettier than watching a cutting horse. I think that the sport is amazing, and the fact that it's almost like a dance between the horse and the steer with you guys directing it. I mean, I can't believe the amount of practice that's got to go into this, and the just the know-how that your horse has to have almost just to get started in this. Tell us a little bit about all that.
Well, I'll step in a little bit on this
Yes,
one. You know, it takes around about 2 years to train a cutting horse.
2 years.
And you know, they're usually started as 2-year-olds and maybe a little bit younger than that. And they're taken through and put what we call a lot of green work or foundation work. And they're started on a mechanical cow, and then eventually you start on a cow. But the whole...
So people actually begin on the mechanicals and train up like
they
that.
have, you know, there's several companies now that have mechanical cows that allow you to train a horse and get him started. You can put him in, you know, one particular position all the time if you find he needs to train on that a little bit. And you can slow it down and you can control it more. I suppose you can put it in a controlled environment. You know, but, you know, how it originally started was obviously that, you know, the ranchers used to, before they had yards or things like that, you know, in big pastures, they would more or less, you know, cut out the fat cattle that had to go to the market, and or you know, if there was a dry cow that didn't have a calf, and that's how it started. And then from there it was brought into an arena that all of a sudden they worked out that we work in meters here, not feet. And you know, so you know, for everyone out there, better get a conversion table going.
Get your conversion ready.
But we work at around about 35 meters wide by around about 60 meters long.
Okay.
And you have 4 people in that arena. You have 2 herd holders out in the corners, and then you have 2 turnback guys out the front.
That's to keep the steer from just wandering off and stuff.
That's
and getting away
you know,
from.
they sort of shape your cattle to where you want them. You know, and that's the beauty of this sport, that everyone jumps in and helps each other. And you know, a lot of the time, those guys that are helping you will also compete against you.
Okay.
You know, and you know, we were fortunate enough to have a barbecue at a guy called Kenny Imoy's, who has cutting up.
Certainly.
And we had a really nice chap that I met through the American Cutting Association called Mike Crumbler. You know, and we done an interview with Mike that we sent home. And the thing that he really pushed home was that at the end of the day, no matter if you're in Australia, or in Texas, or in Colorado, wherever else, if you're connected to cutting, you're connected to a big family.
Absolutely. That's a great way of putting that.
Yeah, and it is a big family. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what I like about this. You know, you can have some people that are right into that herd that may be a fraction nervous. And, you know, you can have someone talking through a run. Or, you know, so, you know, there's always someone there with you, as it is on the prairie or on the ranch, to give you a hand to cut one out. And, you know, that's the most spectacular thing about it, other than obviously the training process. You know, that's very fulfilling in itself, to take a horse that knew nothing to about eventually put your hand down and work a cow. I have done lots of things in my equine life, and I've never experienced anything like it, ever.
Mark, that's a great story there. And for you guys this weekend, the events are Saturday and Sunday at Bell County Expo. You ride both days?
Yeah.
And do you guys know what's happening Saturday night over there at the Bell County Expo Center? After you guys are done riding, have you ever heard of Willie Nelson?
Yes.
He's playing there Saturday night.
Really? Wow.
So if you guys hang around, you may just get to see him come through there when they're loading in to start up the show there inside the big amphitheater. But what a weekend to be in Texas. You get to see Willie Nelson right there where you guys are riding around. I don't know if it gets much more country or cowboy than that. So I hope you have a awesome weekend. And thank you all so much for coming by here. Is this going to be something that the footage airs on Farm and Ranch? Are they going to tape this and then put it together?
Yeah, there's 2 series. Kenny and brought his cameras out to Terry Clifford's place and watched the girls practice.
Okay.
And you know, they got some really good footage. And then part one is when, you know, the viewers see the girls practicing and getting to know the girls. You know, before that, Kenny, we got a camera guy in Australia to actually do some footage on the girls, to, you know, introduce everyone, to let them know that they were coming over. So, you know, and then we got part 2 of them training, and then Kenny's son is coming to the show. Kenny can't be here, and he's going to put together the 3rd one to where they show, and they'll be mic'd up and things like that, so it'll be good.
Outstanding. Well, we will certainly make our listeners aware of when that becomes available, and we'll be sharing that as well. But we've got the Australian Cutting Horse Association riding at the American Cutting Horse Association event this weekend at Bell County Expo. You can get more details right there on the Bell County Expo website, and we will pop up our conversation with Taylah, Michaela, and Emma and Mark this afternoon. You guys can check them out and Have a great time this weekend at Bell County Expo. Say hi to Willie for us.
Thank you very much.
Ladies, thank you all so much. And Mark, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks.
having us.